Welcome back to Machine Shop Tech Talk, or welcome to Machine Shop Tech Talk. If it's your first time here, don't forget to click like, click subscribe so you can follow along. Now, in distribution, there are some problems. In a machine shop, when you're trying to quote a job or you're trying to get information on a tool, there's a lack of transparency in the industry. You've got to call someone to get a price. You've got to call someone to get a lead time. And man, wouldn't it be simpler if you could just go to a website and have those answers so you can get a quote back to your customers faster? Well, good news. I'm here today with my buddy Mike, and that's what we're going to dig into. So, Mike, now I know we're going to get into a new company you just started called Motool, and
Yeah.
I want to hear all about that. But first, for the people out there that aren't as familiar with you as I am, let's give them a little snippet. What's got you to this point?
Yeah, for me, a little bit about my history. I started as a machinist in the trade, really fell in love with the industry and the complexity of it. And so I spent probably about 6 years doing that and got into the sales side. So I was working for Sandvik Coromant, supporting all the distribution network out there. Had a couple things in between, like machine tools and whatnot, but ultimately decided to start my own machine shop. And so we've been doing Exact Industries for 4 years. And in those 4 years, I kind of found a few, I don't know, things that, not pain points really, but just things that I felt that could be more efficient from an owner trying to purchase tools and source tools. So that's kind of where Motool came from. And yeah, we're an online website. We don't have feet on the street sales guys. And the goal is to be able to support customers to find their product fast and just to be able to check something off their list and order it, be done, and move on to the next thing and not wait for distribution to get back to you.
I love your journey, man, because as you start in machining, you fall in love with the trade, and you go through all the different support roles. You start your own company because you're just so in love with the whole process, and then you start your own company. You're like, oh man, there's this pain point. Rather than complain about it, like a lot of people tend to do, you're
Yeah.
like, look, I'm going to take some action. I'm going to get some people together, and we're going to do something about it. So, Mike, tell me what exactly made Motool like so necessary for you to make.
Yeah, for me, there's a few things I was trying to solve. There's sometimes I would reach out over the phone to a distributor and say, "Hey, I'm just looking for this tool, right?" And let's say an end
Yeah.
mill, right, with 30 thou corner rad and four flutes. And they would have to either call me back or find out what's on their shelf, and it just wasn't a very smooth process. And so there's that, phoning someone, or you would email someone and it might be 3 hours before you get a quote back. And I just kind of felt like that's not super efficient. As a small business owner, you're wearing a lot of hats, you've got a lot of things on your task lists. And if I send an email and if the guy doesn't get back to me, sometimes I forget about it and then it's
Yeah.
not done. So I just wanted something to be able to like click online, find what you're looking for. Like as a machinist, we know what we want. We just have to have the
Yeah.
tools to be able to filter for it. That was kind of the goal, and it started out with a bit of an idea, starting to look down this path, what it might look like, and it's
Mhm.
turned into quite a bigger thing. I didn't realize the amount of work that it takes to get everything uploaded, but it's not even just uploading the product. You need to have all of the attributes that a customer can filter for what they want. Because
Mhm.
anybody can throw 50,000 products up on a website to sell, but if you can't find it without a part number, there's something wrong with that. So that's the other side of it. We're trying to get everything on so that if you're looking for an end mill, it has the attribute of what's the diameter, what's the connection, the back end, how many flutes, coating, corner rad, everything. And then we should
Yeah.
be able to filter through and find what we want fast.
Yeah. Well, and I like it because you're focusing again on the machine shop experience, the owner experience, right? Especially the smaller end of the machine shops where you're wearing so many hats. I mean, forgetting about something, now you've got to get back to that guy. That guy's following up. Hey, Mike, where's that quote? Like, that's not
Yeah,
a great position to be as a business owner. You don't want to feel like you already let them down in the quoting process.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, I like it. So we're clear on the why. How is it working so far? Like what suppliers do you have
Yeah.
already on board? What's your plans going into the future as you're building this out?
Yeah, that's a great question. We started out with Dormer Pramit. They're a pretty well-known brand under the Sandvik umbrella as well. And they have a whole bunch of tools, right? Anything from indexable ISO pocket inserts, turning inserts, milling, drills, end mills. They've got a really wide offering. The performance is really good for the price point, so I see that there's value in that. So that's like our main supplier that we started out with. But since then, actually this week we just had confirmation that a tooling company called Fullerton Tools out of
Oh,
US,
nice. Yeah.
they're coming on board, and they've got a really wide range of high performance end mills from 5 thou diameter up to inch and a half.
They go down to 5 thou now?
It's incredible. I'm going down in a
Wow.
couple weeks to go take a tour of their facility. I'm really excited to see what that's all about. So yeah, Dormer, Fullerton, and then measuring I think is another important thing with the machine shop, purchasing side. And so we've actually last week we have an agreement going with Starrett. So we're going to bring Starrett into the market, keep it on our shelf so that it's easy to access for people.
It's so common. I mean, not just the cutting tools, but as a small shop, you get a request for quote and you're like, oh man, I don't have something to measure that with.
Yeah.
Right away, it's like, well, if I can't measure it, I can't tell them it's done. So you've got to solve that. I love that you're including that as part of it. And it's not just cutting tool selection.
Yeah, and ultimately, like, there's quite often us being a jobber shop, we are quoting every week, sometimes multiple times per day, and to be able to just click online and find out, okay, I've got to order this specific drill or I need the specific measuring tool, just to have an idea of what that costs. It enables you to get the quote out to the customer faster. And in this industry, especially in Alberta, everything is needed yesterday. So there's an quite often if you get a quote to your customer the fastest,
Yeah.
they'll just cut you a PO and you get the work getting you get to start on the work right away. So
Talking about the transparency, the delivery times, just the supporting shop owners to get a faster response out there. The whole they want it done yesterday. When you can answer same day or within a very short time for them, you can get them that answer. And on top of that, because you have that transparency, shop owners aren't going to accidentally underquote a job. They don't realize that end mill or that drill, it's not 50, 60, 80 bucks. It's like a $300 because there's something special about it that they didn't realize was going to jack up the price or delay the availability. Right? Like there's just so much that becomes possible. You can reprogram maybe because, oh, okay, that special taper is actually going to be a really long lead time. I'm going to do it with a ball nose because I can still get them the right form. It just equips these shop owners like yourself over at Exact to be able to get that out there. I think it's a beautiful thing. If you had one request or one more thing to share with the people out there before we wrap up, what would you say to the people watching right now?
yeah, I would just ask to follow us on social media. I think I'll ask Arthur to throw the links in below. And
Yep.
just keep an eye on what we're doing. I mean, we're still at the early stages. I mean, it's been about a year since the idea, and we're not even like fully launched with all of our product yet. So we're gonna have some changes coming up and new products being added, new lines. So yeah, follow us. We'll keep you in the loop on that, and I'm just excited to see where it goes. At the end of the day, if it's solving a problem for me, I'm hoping that it can solve problems for other people too. So
Definitely. I've spent my time in distribution. I think there's going to be a large customer base. You might be surprised by the response you start to get from this as it gains steam, Mike. Thank you so much for taking time to share with us about what you're up to with Motool and Exact Industries. I mean, if there's anyone watching that wants a quote too, now they know you exist on the Exact side of things. I know we're talking Motool today. But that's fantastic. So yes, I will put the links down below for anyone that wants to get in contact with Mike or follow along on the journey as they continue to add more suppliers to their chain and their availability. And to anyone that's made it this far, please drop a like, drop a subscribe to the channel. It does so much to make the reach. It's not an ego thing. It's just when you react, then YouTube's like, oh, hey, or LinkedIn's like, hey, actually, there is value in here. And it helps other people get the same value you just got by watching us all the way through. To all my machining friends out there, keep your spindles turning and earning.